Hi, this is Zach Schrader, and along with Josh Browder, Anna Green, Jessica Jennings, and Cassandra Winter, we are Debate Group 3. Our topic for debate is why force ranking is not an effective performance management approach. First, we will define force ranking and then present 4 reasons on why we believe that force ranking method is not an effective approach in managing employees. Business law and management professors Dr. Beth Hazels and Greg Sass define force ranking as a differentiation process where managers are required to evaluate an employee's performance based on predetermined categories against other employees in the department or peer group. As shown in the figure on the right, employees are ranked into 3 categories under a bell curve. Using the bell curve, managers are required to rank their employees within the following distribution: 20% of employees rated above average, 70% rated average, and 10% of employees are rated below average. We will present 4 reasons why we strongly believe that force ranking is not effective in performance management. First, the method weakens employee morale throughout the organization and creates a culture of fear. Second, the legal implications can be very serious. In many cases, those who are most negatively impacted by force rankings are protected classes. Third, force ranking can create a culture of management bias and can lead to ways of cheating the system. And lastly, force ranking has proven itself to not only be ineffective, but it also cannot be universally used in organizations. The number of limitations it has makes it less than desirable performance management approach. Force ranking can support a vicious cycle that can weaken the employee morale of a team due to fear employees avoid taking risks and assisting coworkers. This fear of taking chances and helping others leads to a lack of innovation, and in turn, the overall team performance suffers. Research shows that force ranking turns employees against each other because it disincentivizes them to work together. As stated previously, the costs of lower morale include higher turnover, as well as lack of engagement and collaboration, and lower production and innovation. Age discrimination is the most common legal concern arising from force ranking performance evaluations. Often, those impacted negatively by this system are in protected classes. Companies such as Ford, Goodyear, and Capital One are all examples of organizations that have had discrimination-related lawsuits brought against them due to force ranking. Um, as stated previously, some notable legal suits include a Ford settlement of $10.5 million following a force ranking related legal dispute. A similar case was brought against Goodyear Tire in 2001. This eventually led to wrongful termination suits against the company. Capital One was also hit with several lawsuits regarding their first force ranking practices in the early 2000s. In the case of Seigel versus Ford, approximately 18,000 management employees were ranked as either A, high performing, B, average performing, or C, low performing. Group C did not receive raises or bonuses and faced termination. Older workers made up the majority of these employees. Now imagine you are a manager that has created a team of superstar employees that continually outperforms any other team in the department. But at the end of the year, you have to rank 70% of them as average or below average. Is it smart to give good employees subpar reviews just to meet a quota? On the other hand, managers can beat the system by using force ranking as a tool to release undesirable employees instead of ranking based on performance. Some managers have even purposefully hired lower performers in order to meet their quota of ranking 10% of their employees below average. Force ranking cannot exist as a universal approach. Within the last 30 years, only 20% of Fortune 500 companies use force ranking as a successful performance management program. The remaining 80% have adopted alternatives, such as the paternalistic leadership style of management, in which leaders are expected to be involved in the lives of subordinates, and personal involvement interferes with the objectivity of ranking. Employees under the paternalistic management style are measured by job commitment rather than an objective performance that could be measured in ranking. Forced ranking, even with success, has an expiration date. When lower performers are removed, a new method will need to be established in order to avoid eliminating good workers in the future. Even supporters of forced ranking state the method should only be utilized for a maximum of 3 years, and focus should be placed on using a system that aligns with the geographic and organizational culture. In conclusion, the negatives associated with forced ranking have led to an overall decline of its use of over 300% since 1993. As stated in our organizational behavior text, within the last 30 years, only 20% of Fortune 500 companies use forced ranking. The remaining 80% have adopted an alternative for a variety of reasons. Most importantly, this method has a huge negative impact on the morale of employees in an organization, not to mention legal concerns, bias, and it's not a universal technique.